Hello, this is Jamie White. Welcome to another weekly Supplier Diversity and Small Business Economic Impact Report. As always, I appreciate all the support. Please like, subscribe, follow, and comment on the video if you so wish. For today's podcast, or excuse me, for this week's podcast, I want to talk about a couple of things that are pretty big that's coming up for small businesses. The first piece is that next week is actually Small Business Week for this year. So from May 5th through the 11th, I believe, that's about right, will be Small Business Week. So I wanted to start off with a quick article just telling or giving advice on ways to take advantage of Small Business Week. So as you can see, some five ways to make the most of Small Business Week. First one is head to the hackathon. So apparently there will be a big hackathon in DC for 2 days on the May 3rd through the 5th, with the winning innovator in first place will walk away with $25,000. So if you're in the DC area, definitely check that out. However, if you're not, you can also participate in Small Business Week by sitting in on a free 2 day virtual conference where I'm pretty sure they're going to be talking about best practices when it comes to small businesses, how to grow your business, development, etc., things like that. Also, if you're not able to, or you don't feel like, quite frankly, uh, participating in those two events, simply simply tweet something on Twitter that just says Happy Small Business Week, or something along those lines, along with maybe something that you do, something that you're offering for that week that may be discounted, some type of service or product that you yourself want to promote. I think would be an excellent opportunity for that for Twitter as well. And then the last two, create some buzz, as well as take the opportunity to make your business the best that it can be. So again, Small Business Week is next week. Definitely check it out, participate, purchase from your local business if you can, and make it a good week for you if you're a small business owner, or for small businesses if you're not, but you want to go ahead and support the industry. Okay, next up, HP reports on the current state of small businesses in 2019. Now it's funny. I actually late last week I spoke about how I really wish that there was kind of an economic report for small businesses. What I mean by that is each quarter you each quarter you find out how much our GDP has grown. So last quarter it was 3.2%. This quarter, or not this quarter, last quarter, I was really curious of the 3.2%, how much was related to small business? How are they impacting them? So, less than a week after I raised that question, HP releases the state of small business, which makes sense. Small Business Week is next week, so this will be the perfect time to do it. Pretty much what this really focuses on is the different generations when it comes to how they look at their small businesses. And we're just going to jump down to kind of the infograph, which is pretty cool. Pretty interesting as well. There's definitely a generational gap when it comes to these. But as you can see, just for the first couple of points, 53% of consumers globally agree that brands can do more to solve social issues than government, which I definitely agree. 70% of small business owners globally believe they have a duty to protect their environment, and then 65% of small business owners globally believe they have a duty to contribute to their community. So pretty interesting, local business want to impact the community as much as possible. Now, when we look at this part of the infographic, this is where you really see the the gap between generations. So contributing to my economy, 51% of baby boomers believe that versus 63% of Generation Z. Contributing to and advancing my industry, 52% of baby boomers believe that, and then 70% of Generation Z believe that. So as you can see, it just when it comes to impacting your community, impacting your industry, being innovative, just simply making the world a better place, it's really interesting to see kind of the differences between, for example, solve a societal or environmental issue, 40% for baby boomers versus 60%. So we're definitely moving into really new small business industry, and really the concept of small business, which I never really thought of until I saw this particular report. But I mean, that's actually very interesting. Kind of what businesses, or how businesses are going to be created, and what type of businesses will probably be coming up in the next 10 to 20 years. Maybe vastly different based on how people see their business operating in their local community. So this is very interesting. Even to the point of who are you, what kind of companies do you want to work with? As you can see, Generation Z, if you don't support their kind of values, uh, whatever that may be, um, they're more likely not to work with you versus generations past. So this is interesting. That's coming up, and I think that corporations definitely need to be aware of this moving forward. And a lot of them are, and a lot of them are pushing and promoting uh, various various policies to make sure that they get ahead of this. So, but very interesting. Next up, unemployment drops to 3.6%. Over 260,000 jobs added, showing economy remains strong. So, and I've said this before previously, and I'll say it again. The When it comes to the economy, this administration is doing a pretty good job. And what we're saying is that this is just continuing and continuing. And despite people every quarter or every month, even myself, especially last year, saying that we may be seeing, well, not we may be, on a global perspective, we were seeing a slowdown, and it may affect America at some point. It did affect the American economy late last quarter, in the fourth quarter particularly, but we're seeing it ramp back up and continue along the lines. So pretty good. In this NPR report, even the Chairman Jerome Powell, it's either this one or the next report. Basically, where Chairman Powell is basically saying we're not seeing any signs of any slowdown. We're seeing a continue uptick. So if you're a fan of this economy, based off of what we're seeing, you will continue to be a fan. So this seems like it's trending, continues to trend in this way. The economy that wasn't supposed to happen, booming jobs, low inflation. This just kind of promotes exactly what I said, but more so with this piece where it says maybe using data from a few decades in the middle of the 20th century to set policy in today's world isn't such a good idea. I put this because I guess it's a little bit of propaganda, but like I believe this as well. I really don't understand why we continue to look at metrics that happened, heck, in the 1980s, and talking about how great of an economy we had during that period and trying to set policy for today. I don't think that they're looking at two different economies, and I don't think that it has anything to do with what we're doing right now. Now I'm not saying that this person is saying the 1980s specifically, but for me, I definitely just seeing that like that's one of the things that I definitely want to promote. So understanding that we're in a new economy and that policies that may have worked then aren't going to necessarily work now, or policies that didn't work then may honestly work now. We're just dealing with a new economy, and because of that, our we should expect different results, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. U.S. economy has added jobs for 103 straight months. Just wanted to kind of point that out. Don't really want to get into the article too much, but 103 straight months. That's incredible. From the Obama administration all the way up to the Trump administration. I mean, this is really excellent. We're seeing a lot of business friendly policies that are coming along. How that affects the individual, that is still that remains to be seen. But as of right now, for the small business market, I mean, this is a great time to be a small business owner. And lastly, now I know I try to keep this under 10 minutes. This one's probably going to go a little bit past it, so I apologize. But yet and still, I really wanted to get in on this. Are we in a baby boomer retirement crisis? So you continue to see things such as like unemployment decrease. We're seeing jobs being added at a tremendous rate, which is great. Again, I do think that the administration, when it comes to the economy, and the business piece, is doing a really good job. I do think that they have some issues that they feel in, such as having a government shutdown, which costs. I mean, they probably could have hit. They hit 3.2%. They definitely could have hit way more than that, maybe even a 3.5, 3.6, had they not had that government shutdown. But regardless, we're not going to get into that. When it comes to the baby boomer retirement crisis, one of the questions that a lot of people are asking is people really can't figure out how the unemployment continues to decrease and we continue to add more jobs. Uh, what I'm saying, and I'm just pulling from my personal experience, it doesn't mean that this is exactly what's happening in the economy. And you can have your own opinion, which is always great. And by all means, share it if you will. What I'm saying is that a lot more baby boomers are retiring over the past 2 to 3 years that I've noticed. And the jobs that are being filled aren't necessarily new jobs, but they're the same jobs. They're just people are just in need to hire new people because baby boomers are retiring. So I definitely want to pose this question. I'm curious as to, are these numbers less reflective of jobs being created, or are they just old jobs that, because baby boomers are retiring, it's decreasing the unemployment rate, but people are just simply hiring new people and maybe increasing their wages just a slight tick just because it's inflation and when that, and people are hitting record numbers of in terms of revenue. So, paying somebody an extra 10, 20,000 when you've just made an extra 30% or 20%, is really nothing. So I'm curious as to, is that helping attribute to this? And again, this isn't something that we'll know today. We'll probably won't know until years down the line when we're really taking a look at this to see exactly why this worked. But I am curious about that because if that is the case, then we are going to have other other issues that are going to hit our economy, such as the fact that because the baby boomer population was so big, now that they're retiring, you're having a smaller population that now has to take care of the baby boomers financially when it comes to paying into retirement. So that may be the next kind of piece in terms of how, the issues that are coming up, and how do we solve that piece moving forward over the next, short term specifically, so over the next 20 years. But that being said, that's just kind of me and some of the things I wanted to talk about when it comes to economic impact report. As always, I appreciate you guys coming back and listening in to the podcast and what I have to say. As always, please like, subscribe, comment on the video, and share with anyone who you think would like this. Thank you again, and have a great weekend, and have a great National Small Business Week next week as well. Take care.